What's going on, guys? In this short little tutorial video, I'm going to go over why it's a great idea to take pictures of your subject at an event inside with the decorations. And a little bit later in this video, I will tell you what I suggested to the client to do greatly improve the quality of the images that I delivered and made a lasting impression for the client. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go over some of the shots that I do inside a banquet hall and my edit process here. This is shot with an on-camera flash, and I'm bouncing the flash to the side of the banquet hall. The first edit I would do, the first thing I would do to this image, adjust the cropping. Before anything else, adjust the cropping. Make sure the lines are straight. Okay, and then I'll probably get rid of these tables here on the right. Get rid of these tables on the left. And pay attention to what's around you in this image. So right here I have the backdrop of the banquet hall, the walls. And that pretty much looks like it's pretty even. Pay attention to all the lines in the shot, the decoration lines too right here. Second thing I would do is adjust the temperature, the white balance. So I think it's a little warm, and I will go ahead and cool it off just a bit. Third thing I would do, it's a little underexposed, so I bring up the exposure just a bit, and you just gotta watch out so you don't burn the highlights of the dress here, all the little details. So if you do a lot in exposure wise, you will burn all that detail. You can bring it back when you do the whites too, when you lower the whites. As you can see here, the whites of the cake and the whites of the dress. You want to be cautious on that front. Bring up the shadows just a little bit. See what that does. Brings up all the details in the hair. Add a little bit, maybe a little contrast. And then you can go back and say, okay, you know what? This image is a little cooler than I thought. However, it's matching all the whites. So the whites are really white. And go ahead and warm it up just a tad right here. Bring up the exposure just a little bit. That's pretty much what I would do. Maybe add a little bit of sharpness to the image, and that's pretty much it. If I have an image that's similar to this image, I would delete one or two. I wouldn't deliver the same image. Now in this example, she's looking at the camera, so I would not delete it. I would deliver both. But in this example, this is almost the same shot on the right, but her expression is different here. If you pay attention to her expression here, it's different. So I would go ahead and deliver the same, both these images. And you don't want to. And also, guys, keep in mind, you always want to delete all the bad shots. You never want to, be lazy and not delete the bad images. You want to go ahead and not have your clients see them. I mean, I've had clients that they saw one bad image of them and then they didn't like all the images because of that one bad image. So you always want to just get rid of those shots. It's not all about a numbers game when you're delivering. Now, here's an example, this image here of using one light, one speed light, not off camera, it's on camera. But the purpose of this is to pack light. Sometimes it's a smaller gig, you don't want to take stands and, mess with all that. You can pretty much use this trick to have an off-camera effect. So turn the flash head to the right. On this image, I'm turning it to the right, bouncing it off the banquet hall, as you see here. And then the light is coming from this direction here. So I'm bringing it cooler. I'm bringing it back cooler a little bit. The exposure is not that great, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Much better, right, guys? Much better here. Add a little bit of contrast. A little bit of shadows, bring up the details in the hair, watch out for the details in the back here. So pretty much it's spot on. I'm using a D800 with a 7200 at 70 millimeters at 3.2 aperture, ISO 1000. Looks beautiful, not too much noise, and to me, this looks great. Okay, so what do you see wrong in this image right here? Okay, I do not like this, so I made my proper adjustment on the next image here. This is a lot better. This is distracting, so always watch out for these type of elements in your image. So I made the proper adjustment. Too bad I really like her expression here. I really like the way she came out. sets the mood. But however, I like this image a little bit distance away from the bride decoration here on the chair. So I had her tilt her head a little bit to the left, and again, I'm bouncing the light on the right. This image needs some adjusting. This image needs to, you know, it's a little warmer than I would like. Maybe cool it off a little bit. And it all depends on what you're after. You know what I mean? Add a little bit of exposure to the shot. Maybe a little bit of contrast, and you can pretty much retouch her face too a little bit, and you can do that in Photoshop. I'll leave that for another tutorial. So here's an example of finger placement. Pay attention to your subject's fingers. I do not like how her fingers came out here, so what I did was I took a picture like that. Much better. This I not a big fan of the fingers, so I had to put her hands down, and this is even better. And this is an example of the subject. Yeah, take a few pictures of her looking at the camera, but play around with where she's looking, maybe off camera, you know. This is a very unique image where she's not looking at the camera, but she's looking a little bit off on top to the right. And again, this was a simple setup: camera, lens, and one speed light on top of the camera. So I don't have much to play with here other than my gear with one speed light. Same adjustments. Here's the lens of the videographer. Always pay attention to that in the corners, and pretty much cut that out. And then yeah, you don't need to, I mean, the exposure is perfect, I think. Maybe add just a little bit. The color temperature is great. I really like to cool it down just a little bit, match the whites, and pretty much this image is good to go. Okay, so I switched out the lens here. I got a little bit closer to the subject to add that little effect that I'm wanting here in this image. 24 to 70 at 24 millimeters. I'm really close to the subject. Now with this image, again, it's crooked. You see the decorations here in the backdrop, so you want to straighten that out. Looks much better. And you want to play with the sliders. Maybe it's a little too cool. Maybe, you know, maybe it's a little too warm. Cool it down just a little bit. Add a little bit of contrast, shadows. Looks great. Skin tones look amazing. Again, this was not the ideal lighting situation for this banquet hall, so you're kind of, you know, you have a constant battle going on with your camera and the lighting, the available light here. Right here, again, I'm bouncing the flash to the right, bringing in that soft light here on the side. All right, so always look around your banquet hall, see what other backdrops are nice. Maybe the entrance of the banquet hall is nice with the chandeliers here. Took my 1635 here. I wanted a nice white shot, nice front image of the dress, her holding onto the dress. I have the door here on the right and bringing in all this available natural light. And always make sure that if she's looking at me or if she's looking off at the door, tell her, you know what, look outside, bring in all that natural light. You're mixing in the natural light here with the lights here of the banquet hall. But I wanted that whole effect here. So in this image, you know, you can do a lot here. You can do a lot. You can lower the exposure. You can higher the, I like it moody like this. Lower the exposure, maybe add some, depending on what you're after. I like the warmness of the image here. Maybe lower the contrast, bring in the details. So you can do a lot here. Even black and white would look really nice. So always look around in the banquet hall and see what you can find. Pay attention to your lines again and your cropping, and it makes for a really good image. And when you're done with that, have a look at the camera, as you see here. Now, I'm not too happy with banquet hall shots. You know, it doesn't matter how beautiful the decoration is inside. I always ask the subject, can we go outside? 5 minutes of your time. 5 minutes. You will love the results. and that just vastly improves the images that you can deliver to the client. Now I brought her outside, and the quality of the product that you deliver will improve drastically. So find some time to say, you know what, do you have 5 or 10 minutes for me? Just 5 or 10 minutes. Get there a little early before guests arrive, just so she can do all this, because once the guests arrive, you're gonna be like, she's gonna be busy. So do this beforehand. Get to the event, tell the client to get there a little bit before so you can get all this stuff out of the way. 5-10 minutes of your time, man. So here you go again. Like, we're outside taking nice shots of the client. I find a nice backdrop here with colors. This is right outside the door of the banquet hall, so we're not really traveling too far. We're just stepping right outside. So, and there you go. Like in this image, I would pretty much leave it alone. I would maybe add a little bit of play with the color temperature, maybe a little warmer here. The exposure is spot on. Maybe a tad of exposure. That's pretty much it. And I really like the colors of the backdrop, so maybe I can add some vibrance to this shot, and you're pretty much good to go. Sharpness is spot on with the D800, the 7200 lens at 3.5 aperture. You want to change the poses around. Don't take 10 shots of the same thing. So as you see the image here, 40, 41. On the next image, right on the next image, I'm pretty confident in my shoots, so the next image, I changed it to have it look off to the side. Just a variety of shots you can deliver to your client, and she will love you for it. Again, I can make the same adjustments that I did in the previous image, because I really like what I did here, and apply it to these images. I want the full body too, because there's clients that say, you know what, hey, I love the image, but how come you cropped where are my feet? So keep in mind, back up if you need to, and take a few shots, same pose with the whole body. You don't want them to come back at you and complain about that. So, and plus it makes it for a great image. Just keep that in mind when you're shooting. Again, have her look at you. The next shot, look down. Have the next shot look off to the side. Just a variety of shots, Again, she was a great sport. She loves taking pictures, and I pretty much had a great time. And then take some nice shots back away from the subject. 7200 lens here at 200 millimeters. So the difference between this at 95 millimeters and 200 millimeters. Look at the compression. Look at the compression in the back here. Looks beautiful. And in this image, I would again add some vibrance. I'm loving the colors. Probably make it a little warmer like that. And what I like to do is maybe add a little bit of shadow. A little bit of shadow. Bring in the hair just a little bit. And again, guys, there's no right or wrong to this. It's just personal preference. And again, play with the poses. Don't just shoot the same thing over and over again. Play with the poses. So as you could see here on the left, the image number, look, I only took 3 shots of this pose, then I moved on to something else. I always move on to something else. I like her hand placement. I like the way she's looking off to the side. On the right here, I like that. And I like that look right here. See? And this 57 image, 4057, I like the way she's looking to the left, but I'm not too happy about her hands. I noticed that, and I made my proper adjustments. On the following image, see that? Looks much better. Looks much better. Her hand is a nice, better place, and the way she's looking off to the side. Very nice here. I'm at 3.5 to get that nice little background blur going. Here, nice compression. The outside of the banquet hall, sidewalk. This is the sidewalk, and it works. It works. This business next door had nice little colors and flowers. Used it to my full advantage. Okay, so I really like this pose here. The only thing I don't like about this shot is the car here. Don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to her pose. She's leaning into her shoulder. She's turned, looking directly at me. And pay attention to your subject's expression, guys. This is key in photography. Some people look better when they semi-smile. Some people look better when they're serious. To them, you ask the client, do you like when you smile? Like, what do you prefer? Because The image might look great to you as a photographer. So what I'm trying to say is ask the client what she likes, what she prefers, you know? And I pretty much got a feel for what she likes, and we went from there. Anyway, she's turned her body, she's looking at me, looking directly at my camera here. And the focus point is right on her eye. Guys, no focus tracking, nothing. Single focus point, D800, man, what do you want? But here, 3.5 at 185 millimeters, pretty much. The next image, I changed it up a little bit. You know, I said, relax just a little bit. You know, let's get a nice relaxed shot here. Look off to the right. Look off to the right, over your shoulder. Keep the same pose with your hands, but look off to the right. Look a little more off to the right, you know. Look at, when you're taking pictures, look at what objects they're on to the left of you and say, okay, look at that pole or look at that car. It changes the direction of her eyes. You know, she's looking at the ground here, and here as she's looking at the parked car. Again, have her look at you, you know. Don't just take 20 shots of her looking into a car, looking at the side, off to the side. Take a couple shots. Look at you here. Look at you here. Nice sharp image. Cropping. It's a little off, but no problem. I can adjust that. You know, no problem at all. Adjust that. Boom, we're done. Very little adjustments I'm doing here. Maybe 4 or 5 sliders and done. This is a perfect proof. You can proof this image. If she wants to blow this up into an enlargement or use it for something, then you can, you know, fine tune it, detail it, Photoshop it, whatever you want to do. And all I did was here is just have her look up to the left and, you know, raise her chin up a little bit. Same pose here, but she's off to the side and she's looking up to the left. You know, just makes a big difference. Variety of shots, guys. Variety of shots. Keep in mind your backdrop here. You don't want the backdrop to be too busy or objects that might mess up your image. These images that you saw before were a little bit dramatic. Now take a nice relaxed portrait. Relaxed portrait, looking off to the side, looking a little more off to the side, looking up at the air with her eyes closed, and, you know, just her hands, adjust the hands. Do different things, you know, variety, you know, yeah. This is an example of a shot that you will delete. Don't deliver shots that you don't want her to see. If you have a problem with the shot, delete it. You know, don't be afraid of deleting the shots and not delivering those shots. Okay, so here is an example of a portrait, and I got up close to the subject at 200 millimeters at 2.8, 200 millimeters. Look at the compression. Notice how it's not centered. She's not centered. She's off to the right a little bit of the frame. Now, the 2.8, man, I love this Nikon lens. It is so sharp. Watch what you could do with this image. There is so much you could do with this image. You can crop it like this, right? You can crop it like that, which I really like. You can bring this in just a little bit. Boom, look at that. It just looks so nice. You can just deliver different, like one black and white, one color. If she's gonna do something with this image where she wants it printed, obviously you want to retouch the face a little bit and make it smoother. Close-up portraits of her looking at me, and then maybe one off to the side. It makes a big difference here, guys. This is a really nice image of her. And again, guys, when you do this and when you know you got the portraits outside, you can go ahead and just cover the event. The dancing will be there. You will get dancing shots. These are the least favorite of my images that I take. Couple of dancing shots here and there, but you know that they want candidates, and you can do this later on as the event goes on, but get there a little bit before and take pictures of her. If we didn't go outside in that little moment there, she would not have those portraits outside. Makes a big difference in what you can deliver to a client. Makes a big impact, especially if you're a new photographer and you want to make a good impact, a good impression on clients, and they want you to, you know, you want them to call you for a next event. That will greatly improve your chances of getting hired again as a photographer. So take the client outside. All right, guys, I'll leave you with that. Have a great time shooting, capturing events. Be safe out there, and always remember, look for variety. Don't be lazy to take the subjects outside of the banquet hall, and just have a good time.